Formula One leaves Albert Park, Melbourne and travels over to Japan. It's round 4, and earlier in the season we were at one of the most famous and most historic Formula One circuits in the world. Suzuka is Formula One, and we're glad to be back. It's the 4th round of the 2024 calendar. After Verstappen dominating in Bahrain and Saudi, it now goes Australia to Sainz. Japan is here before 2 weeks we're in China, then it's back over to Miami. The European season begins in Emilia-Romagna in mid-May, followed then by Monaco. Canada takes a brief trip over and stops the European season before Spain, Austria and Great Britain leads us to the halfway stage of the year. Hungary and Belgium take us to the summer break before the Netherlands and Italy, followed then by Azerbaijan, round out the European season. Singapore then takes us with the United States, Mexico, Sao Paulo, then Vegas before returning to the deserts with Qatar and Abu Dhabi to round out the season. Max Verstappen leads the championship by just 4 points coming into this weekend to Charles Leclerc in second. Sergio Perez is third on 46, a point back to Leclerc. Carlos Sainz, victor last time out, now moves into 40. Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris have McLaren 5-6 before George Russell puts it in 7th, ahead of the 2 Aston Martins of Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll, and Lewis Hamilton down in 10th position, only on 8 points. Yuki Tsunoda has 11th with 6. He's tied with Oliver Behrman. Then we get Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen on 3 and 1. Albon, Zhou, Ricciardo, Ocon, Gasly, Bottas and Sargent still no points this season. In the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull also lead the championship by just 4 points to Ferrari, 97 to 93. McLaren have holding off easily to that of Mercedes, who only have 26 compared to McLaren's 55. It's Mercedes in a battle with Aston Martin, a point between them. Visa Cash Up RB have 2 points cleared to Haas, before Williams, Sauber and Alpine still pointless this season. Let's take a look around the Suzuka International Race Circuit, the only figure of 8 on the Formula One calendar, 3.608 miles, a total of 18 turns, and it is flat out. Built in the 1960s, it's one of the best circuits in the world. It's important to get a good exit out of the last corner and hurtle downhill towards turn number 1. Back on the power, full throttle, see what you can get towards it as well. You can carry so much more speed in here than you first think. Literally lift and coast, gentle on the throttle, then brake down into turn 2. Turns 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 are called the S's. You can only get these right once a weekend, Jenson Button used to say as he navigated these back in his McLaren days. Up the hill we come then to the top of the Dunlop curve, a very fast part of the track before you head in to Degner 1 and Degner 2. Downhill braking spot, easy to get it wrong and end up in the gravel trap. Heading up towards the hairpin at turn 11, flat out from 8th gear, down into 2nd gear, hold the inside, it's slightly banked, the rear wants to step out and exit. Back on the power as you head down through the 200R at turn 12, drop down into a double apex 13-14 left-hander called Spoon Curve. Flick the car in, first in 5th gear, then drop down 4th gear before back on the power. Long run up past the school pit lane where drivers get taught how to race here in Suzuka towards the fearsome 130R. It's flat out. Ride the curb at the exit as you hurtle down towards the braking zone, into the Casio triangle, and then smoothly on the throttle, downhill towards the finish line. Put on the power maximum, and that is a lap of the Suzuka International Race Circuit here in Japan. The clouds have stayed but dispersed with no more rain compared to 24 hours ago when Free Practice 2 took part. Welcome to Suzuka in Japan for round 4 of the 2024 World Championship. And this amazing Japanese Grand Prix venue hosts once again the best fans in the world, and coming up, one of the closest qualifyings we see of the season as everybody tries to find their way around the 5.807 kilometre circuit. Hello everybody, welcome to Suzuka and qualifying day here at Japan. Q1 is a few moments away, and this morning in practice 3 it was status quo, a 1-2 for Red Bull, but McLaren getting themselves involved in the mix as well. Coming on the outside of that with Mercedes, it's still anybody's guess what could happen. Alongside me in the commentary box is Kieran and Jess, and Kieran, starting with you, welcome back again. And I don't know what to say, but Japan always has a different feel to it. It's something energising about getting up in the middle of the night here in the UK. You always do it for the Japanese Grand Prix. Bonus today, however, British summertime, it's getting light outside, so it's not too bad of a start, but it's still the same old Japan.
Absolutely, and it doesn't matter the fact that they've moved it right up the calendar, all the way up to April from last year. No, it's a great venue. The fans, as you already mentioned, are fantastic. It's built in the 60s as Honda's original test track and then converted into a Formula One track in the 80s, first raced here in 1987. And it's just been host to some iconic moments, Senna and Prost twice for 3 or 4 years. So it's definitely delivered its championship battles. It's great to see it still on the calendar. Further up, maybe 4th round of the season, it's the earliest it's ever been, and we'll see what the weather has to say about that over the weekend. We've seen it on and off, maybe thinking about raining. It stayed dry for now, and we'll hope that continues.
Yeah, first time since 1995 that Australia and Japan have been back-to-back on the World Championship calendar. Back then we had Japan, Australia, because of course we had AIDA in the middle of that one as well, where Michael Schumacher took his World Championship before they went off to Adelaide for the last time at the end of the 95 season. And actually, it was Japan, Australia, one of the only times in F1 history that we've had 4 different venues in 2 different countries in a row. So it's quite a little history stat for you there. Jess is back with us as well for the first time in a couple of weeks in Saudi Arabia. Nice to have you back, Jess. And here we go again then in Japan. What have you been thinking of last time out in Australia and coming into this one? Because, of course, you went with us and Max Verstappen had that massive retirement and it's shaken the championship up dramatically.
Yes, I think it's been about a month since I was doing commentary with you lot, but I am back, and yeah, all of a sudden Max Verstappen had a brake issue with the brake ducts, and we saw Carlos Sainz took the win after he had his appendix off. So more people would probably have their appendix off after they saw Sainz take that one. But a good venture for Sainz in that race in Australia to take that win as well. And hopefully that results in many teams thinking about whether they should put Sainz in their rostrum for next season in 2025 as well. Mercedes had a bit of a struggle last time out when both cars DNF, one due to engine issue and then one because of what happened with Russell and Fernando Alonso as well. But this weekend though, the Mercedes said they were looking good. The balance was a lot better as well. And Hamilton thinks that the team has got a better baseline to start the weekend with.
We're going to see if that's the case as well. McLaren right on the base. Mercedes want to get back up there as well. Russell and Hamilton want a different strategy run. They only really had free practice number 3 to get the running order down for both qualifying and the race. So there's a lot of interest coming in. Rain predicted tomorrow, a dry qualifying session, but by no means does that mean we're going to have a peaceful run. You can get it wrong at Suzuka in the dry or the wet. Ask 2009 when we had 4 red flags in qualifying. But sit back, relax and enjoy qualifying for the Japanese Grand Prix of 2024. Konnichiwa. Japan once again hosts a Formula One World Championship event, but this year it's a little bit different. It's round 4 in 2024 and 24 Grand Prix around the world as part of Formula One's plan to make the calendar a bit more easier on miles spent travelling around the world. We stay in the same time zone as what we had in Australia and just move over 2 weeks later. Well, Australia delivered us no Max Verstappen victory and Carlos Sainz on the front. Now we come to a very different kettle of fish. It's a 5.807 kilometre circuit, the only figure of 8 on the World Championship stage, and a place where Max Verstappen is awesome. The Honda power unit really works at Honda's both A, home circuit, and B, home Grand Prix. So C1 hard tyre, no one will be using that in qualifying. Expect to see the C2 being used maybe in Q1, but the main qualifying tyre will definitely be the C3, which is 0.6 of a second faster across the weekend as well. Well, there's the date, 2024, April the 6th as well. One of three different variations of dates you can have across the world. In America, it's the day, the month, and the year. No, hang on, it's month, day, year. Then it's the other way around in the UK, where we have the day, the month, the year. In Japan, it's year, then the month, then the day. It's very confusing how it goes through. Alongside me in the commentary box is Kieran McGinley and Jess Board. Josh T is down in the pit lane for us as well. And Kieran, starting with you on this one. The fans are all in, they're all packed. It's a sellout here. No matter the time of year, they make their way in. And I've never, ever, ever seen a Japanese Grand Prix with no fans. They pack out the stadium like no other.
Oh, they do. And then there's such creativity amongst the fans as well. There's been so many different creations that have been brought to the front. We saw a hat there with a little teddy bear on it. We've seen team principals as well as Yuki Tsunoda's head on a goat. Yeah, it's happened. The Japanese know how to get the fans and get the creations in. I love coming to Japan. The fans are absolutely brilliant, and I maintain they're the best fans on the calendar.
I'm with you on that. And Jess, we're seeing Oscar Piastri celebrating his 23rd birthday here today. He got his first podium here a year ago. McLaren looking strong again, but it's really the battle at the front between Red Bull and Ferrari. 4 points between them in both the Drivers' and the Constructors' Championship. So much on the line coming into qualifying, they can't let Max do it again.
No, they can't. And looking at the qualifying simulation pace, they're only about 0.10 seconds separating the two teams. So it could be anyone's game. Sainz is coming off a good momentum as well. Leclerc would want to redeem himself and see if he could beat his teammate and the two Red Bulls. Perez may not have done as well in Australia, but again, did very well in certain tracks which have a similar characteristic, maybe not as well as last year, of course. And this is a good test for Perez because this is a track where Max Verstappen performs really well at, and that was when the gap was quite big last year. So if Perez could close the gap a little bit, then that will be much better as well. And of course, we've got their sister team of Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda looking to do well in his home Grand Prix and Honda's home Grand Prix as well. But yeah, good big test for Perez, big test for Ferrari. We'll see if Verstappen can redeem himself after he retired due to a brake issue.
Still unsure exactly what caused that brake issue. At first they said it was a tear off, then they said that the mechanics hadn't done up the bolts correctly, then they said it was a brake caliper failing. It's all sorts of different stories going around. Andrew Benson, who's head writer at the BBC, said it was the mechanics not fastening the bolts back together again. So we'll double check and hopefully eventually find out what goes on. The green light goes on and qualifying is underway for the Japanese Grand Prix here at Suzuka. Kevin Magnussen is straight onto the circuit here in the Haas, onto the C3 tyre compound. This team looks like they could get into qualifying too quite quickly as well. They were running well earlier on. Let's check in with our pit reporter Josh T, who was with me in the box this morning in practice. And Josh, so much more on the line here because we've seen drivers this morning pushing when the track was still slightly damp and getting out there on the soft tyres. They haven't had much running, so it's a giant leap into the unknown this qualifying session.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody, and welcome to qualifying I've been moved down to the pits, so we will have to see what activities happen down here in the pit lane. Of course, keep an eye on Logan Sargent, who had that crash in free practice 1 yesterday.
I have the feeling that my Discord's frozen, if that's the case. Because...
No,
Hello?
you're good.
Oh, no, good.
Josh
we
just
good?
finished speaking.
Oh, right. I thought you were mid-sentence, and I was like, oh, what happened there? Yeah. I was like, because nobody moved either. I was like, oh, dear. Has the internet gone wrong again? That's great, then. Yeah, so there's Lance Stroll just sitting in the car as well, getting ready. He looks like he's fallen asleep. Oh, no, he has got his eyes open. It's just that vacant stare we couldn't quite see coming through. All change of Ferrari as they get ready. And I think as well, Kieran, Charles Leclerc, for me, is the driver who is least performing from the top teams this season so far. Yes, he's had a couple of podiums, 2 podiums out the opening 3 races. But Carlos Sainz, I think, has been, the star outside of Max Verstappen in Formula 1 at the moment. And I have to beg the question, as we see Magnussen on a push lap with the new gyro cam, have Ferrari possibly made an error getting rid of Sainz over Leclerc? Is it too early to tell?
I think we know how good Charles Leclerc is, especially over 1 lap. He is amazing in qualifying. It's just right now the race pace doesn't quite seem to be there, and it's hard to figure out why. We saw in Bahrain at the opening round, he struggled with locking into turn 10. A couple of drivers did because of that headwind. Today we've got a headwind into turn 1, so that should be pretty interesting. But, it's been tricky for him. It's tough to figure out what the problem actually is, but the fact that Carlos Sainz came back from an appendix surgery and came back to win the Australian Grand Prix, that just proved a real sign of intent. I think the fact that Sainz hasn't been signed for next season has given Sainz an extra half a second per lap. He's going to be out there to prove to everybody that he deserves to be on the grid next season. And he does deserve to be on the grid next season. I think the fact of the matter is that Sainz is performing so much better right now. He's much the more the driver in form. But they're hedging their bets that Leclerc is going to be the better long-term investment. Yes, they might be getting rid of Carlos Sainz, who short-term has brought them their last victory last time out, but they're looking for the long-term, and they're hedging their bets on Hamilton and Leclerc being that solution next season.
Definitely we're seeing Carlos being a more driver on his own. We'll keep an eye on him throughout this qualifying session as Ayo Korematsu, the team principal for Haas, at his home Grand Prix, and the first one ever as his team principal gets a 1:31.203 with Kevin Magnussen on the line. Jess, you've got the data for the cut-off times at the end of qualifying 1 in front of you. I know that. What times are we predicting will be the cut-off for the safe to progress?
Well, Sky had a bit of a conversation before we went on air, and they predicted that the Q1 cut-off time will be a 1:30.3. And I know they're getting faster anyway as the session goes on, so we didn't know what happened in much in FP2 because of the disruption. But yeah, current prediction is 1:30.3 if you want to get your car safely into Q2.
1:29 was the time this morning from Max Verstappen as well as he comes out to the circuit. The 2 Ferraris coming out there as well, and so Stroll, Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, they're all coming out now together. So the first sector is about to be very, very busy. Thankfully, no one is on a push lap at the moment. Magnussen on a cool is coming towards the 1:30R, and this once again is the problem that we don't like to see, is that the drivers are going too slowly and stopping just out the pit lane. George Russell's come to a complete stop just outside of the fast lane, and you're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to stop in the fast lane in the pit lane, but once you reach the pit exit, there's sort of a bit of no man's land where you can stop, and that's what they're all doing, slowly crawling until they stop. And it's just, Max started this and it's getting more and more ridiculous. And this is on board with Piastri. Ferrari's coming out. Oh, and he's going to get safe release by the 2 Mercedes.
Russell. Copy that.
That was a bit close, wasn't it?
What?
Yeah, Russell got released right into the path there of Piastri and didn't even stop. This is what I mean about being too slow in the pit lane. It's just too dangerous.
That wasn't a case of being too slow in the pit lane. That was Mercedes trying to get ahead of Piastri, and in that case, that's going to go down as a dangerous release. Mercedes get a fine for that. But yeah, it's a very crowded pit lane. Everyone's decided they want to go out at the same time. I don't know. Surely the whole point of qualifying is to get yourself clear air. Why would you join a group of 16? I don't get it. I don't get that. Top class strategist, but let's all go out at the same time. I don't get. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm missing something, but
Yeah, Jess.
Incident involving Russell and Piastri will be investigated after the session. Unsafe release.
Right, so they've punished them now as well. Knew that was
I
coming.
imagine that was just a
same.
fine for Mercedes there.
There we go. Yeah, so that'll be money in the bank for the FIA prize gala at the end of the year when it goes towards paying the bar tab. And I wish I was making that up. Quite a lot of times it does go to events and galas and charities as well. The FIA don't just pocket the cash. It gets distributed into the FIA funds as well, and we'll see what happens as they come into it. As just having a look at the sector times, I did see Carlos Sainz was complaining about some oversteer at turn 8. That's at the exit of the S's. That's into Degner 1 and Degner 2. So there's a few issues surrounding that, as Verstappen's first sector time is a 31.091. Leclerc's up as well, but it's Sargent who's got fastest second sector, 40.6. I'm expecting Max Verstappen's time to rocket up to the top. Sargent is a 1:36.43, goes fastest overall, if our timing screens wants to show it. And second sector now coming through for Verstappen, down towards the 130R. Is he backed off? He looks a bit slow. Can't quite tell.
That's flat out through 130R there. Let's see as he makes his way through into the Casio triangle.
Flicks it through. 40.1 was that second sector. Here's Verstappen up to the line. Perez to the 129.303. Max Verstappen absolutely obliterates any sort of fastest time we've had this weekend. It's a 1:28.866. Fastest of this weekend by quite a margin. He's half a second clear to Perez already as Leclerc goes third, and we may as well pack up and go home now. Here comes Sainz. Only third fastest, 6 tenths down. Hamilton and Russell next up as well. Hamilton's coming out of the last corner up to the line. Only goes fourth, 1:29.661. Russell just behind him. He's backed off massively up to the line and goes fifth, 1:29.7. So the gap between him and Hamilton is a tenth of a second. Piastri keeps it close to the wall. Third fastest, much better for the McLarens, 1:29.425. Moves within a tenth of Perez and 5 tenths of Verstappen. Much better lap time now coming through. But they're going to get quicker and quicker, Kieran. That's what we always like to see.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about getting quicker and quicker. Max's pole time last season, 1:28.877. So we're already in Q1. Max Verstappen's already beaten his pole time from last season. So that's only going to get quicker. Expect that to fall into the low 1:28s, maybe even a high 1:27 if Max Verstappen can wrangle that lap time out of the Red Bull, which he so often does consistently. We're watching here Yuki Tsunoda at home here and making his way through in towards Spoon Curve. And making his way through. What is his lap time looking at the moment for Yuki Tsunoda? Looking okay. Currently around about, what's that, in total, about 8 tenths off so far. So we'll see how he makes his way through. Full launch into 130R, 4Gs. U-Pull going through there and in towards the Casio triangle and making his way up towards the line, Josh.
Now, what's Tsunoda going to do? He's in the drop zone on home soil, goes up into 8th position for Yuki Tsunoda. His best qualifying here was 9th last season. Got into the next part of qualifying, but he was 13th in 2022, finished the race in the same position, started 9th on the grid last year, but lost 3 positions and finished 12th. So he's yet to finish inside the points. And Kobayashi was the best Japanese driver here, getting a 3rd place back in 2012. As Norris right over the Casio triangle, Jess, and practically took off.
Yeah, the curb seemed to be quite deadly for the likes of Norris and Tsunoda, so that is probably where he lost that time in the final sector compared to everybody else as well. His sector 1 and 2 looked good, but sector 3 he was struggling a little bit, and that could be very close to the danger zone, and that's the curb I was talking about, Degner 2 for Yuki Tsunoda. That can be absolutely huge for Axers if they don't control that correctly, but luckily Tsunoda was just about to save the car in time.
So we rejoin now at the 130R with Danny Ricciardo. He's 13th at the moment on a 130.105. Several drivers in the pit lane at the moment. And I know that Josh T's going to be keeping across all the information. He'll interrupt us if he's got anything to say as well down there in the pits. As into the pit lane does come Danny Rick, actually, so that's a disappointment. And actually, I'll come to you quickly, Josh, because the role that really you should be given, finally you get to do again, because when we see pit stops tomorrow, you get to call the pit stops tomorrow. He's not even there.
Awesome.
There you go.
Hello.
There he is.
Let's have a look at the replay of Lando Norris, Josh.
Oh, it just took too much entry curve, and I'm surprised about that. Front jumps up, unsettles it. It's a bouncing Buckaroo McLaren. It looks great, actually. That is proper. I think that's the first time I've seen a Formula 1 car look like a Formula 1 car in a long time. That looked unstable, on the edge, and that's good.
Commitment.
Yeah.
And they got a special livery for this weekend as well, Josh.
Yeah, I haven't mentioned that so far, actually. I forgot. They've got a new sort of Japanese cherry blossom design at the back of the car, haven't they? It looks quite cool. I want to have a look at that. I wish we had that on the timing screen up here in the commentary box. However, finally, I've got my proper monitor back, so I've got so much information I'm looking at right now in the commentary box. I'm very much enjoying my new timing screen. Norris is coming in.
Power.
I know. I've got driver, car number, nationality, team, interval gap, DRS, difference about where they've gone on each lap, last lap, best lap, sectors 1, 2 and 3, how many laps they've done, pit stops, last 6 tyres, gear, RPM, speed, pedals, brake and accelerator, and what they've done in the speed trap and their best speed trap. For instance, Esteban Ocon, 299 kilometres an hour. He's fastest in the speed trap at the moment, and the speed trap is located at the exit of the 130R, just after the DRS detection point. Which, as you mentioned, Kieran, actually, they've moved further back this year.
Yeah, I did think they moved it further back, because obviously then the DRS only start down the start-finish straight out of the final corner, so it's quite early in the end of the lap to give over DRS. So that means then you can get the DRS and might actually encourage some moves in towards the Casio Triangle, because if you can get ahead at that point, you'll then get the DRS to try and pull away from cars behind. So expect that to be a hot spot for overtaking in tomorrow's race. Something that's gone slightly under the radar, ladies and gents. Alonso second, only 4 tenths away from Verstappen there.
That's a good time. 1:29.254, yeah. He's 49 thousandths faster than Perez as Albon's into the S's on his sector. I'm looking at that rear of that Williams. They were complaining about it a lot this morning in practice 3. Both Albon and Sargent complaining that they had no rear grip and the rears were completely unstable. Looked okay through the S's. It's okay at Degner. Sargent's coming through that sector now as well, so if we see a red flag soon, we know why. In fact, Sargent's quicker than Albon. Oh, good. Do you know what? Go on, Logan. Do it. Out-qualify Albon.
You changed your tune pretty quickly.
Yeah, you were like absolutely slaying Sargent at one moment. Now you're wanting Sargent to do well. Josh, make your mind up.
Well, I was like, well, he'll probably crash in a second, but then he was 2 tenths faster than Albon. I was like, do you know what? He's got no confidence. He's lacking confidence. The team have given up on him. But Sargent, to me, was one of the big improvers of the second half of last year. And he was doing so well. And now they sort of gave up on him. And he's 3 tenths now up on Albon's time. So if Sargent gets through to QT here and drops out Albon, I'll be happy. Oh, 1:29.9. Now, is that quick? Come on, Logan. I've got faith. Can you do it across the line? Oh, he is. He's 15th.
He lost time.
He lost a lot of time in that last sector, but he's right there. He is 15th. He's 2 tenths faster than Ocon, who's in the drop zone. With 2:30 to go, Ocon, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Magnussen and Zhou in the drop zone.
I'm expecting Zhou to pull a quicker lap out of that, because he's been in pretty good form so far this season. So I think Sargent's place in Q2 is under serious threat We'll have to see about the Alpines and the Hasses. We need to see the Hasses that low down, but watching on Alex Albon tackle those curbs where both Williams in that final sector lost time, and perhaps the Castillo Triangle is the place that lost it.
A lot of curb riding, similar to Lando Norris there. Josh T, the two Saubers this morning, 8th and 9th, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere around there, weren't they? They were inside the top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they've got
Let
time
me
to prove.
get the exact on the practice 3 classification. If I can find the server, there it is. It was practice 3. They've changed it all. There we are.
Ooh, Leclerc braked into turn 1. You don't usually brake there. Usually you lift and coast through that first corner, then downshift. But I was watching his monitor stats, and he braked. He touched the brake.
Bottas was 12th, Zoe was 15th.
Oh, they dropped down massively in the dying moments.
Yeah.
Okay, I stand
Yeah,
corrected.
they dropped down.
'Cause, yeah. Well, when me and Josh looked at the screen, they were 8th and 9th, so they must have dropped in the last
Yes,
seconds.
they were.
Yeah. We're not going
Yeah.
nuts, but we were talking about the Fantasy League as well, so that was a bit like...
Oh, bugger, I forgot to change my fantasy team again.
You might be fine, Jess. I'm screwed. I'm totally screwed.
I forgot to change Bearman over, so I'm screwed.
You've got signs still,
Jess.
so you're fine.
No, it doesn't automatically swap. You have to change it.
Oh, you've got time. You've got 45
I
seconds.
thought it was locked after before
Yes,
quali.
Oh.
it is. But, Jess, you can use your final fix token if you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
change it, but then you can't use that again in the season.
Okay, I'll do that then. So it reopens before the race and I could use it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, Josh. Carry on.
No worries. Because Leclerc's fastest sector 2, 40.084, but is he faster than Verstappen's time? Are we about to lose our minds? No, he's fourth. 129.338. Lost a lot of time in that last sector, and there goes Gasly now to 15th. 8 seconds left. So, Magnussen and Hulkenberg. Oh, the one time I changed to Haas against Williams. Checkered flags out, and Magnussen is out of qualifying. Now, I picked Hulkenberg to replace Albon in the Fantasy League, so from a personal point of view, I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed. Sargent's out as well, but look how close it is. Gasly to Magnussen is 12,000. Gasly to Sargent is 20,000. Here comes Hulkenberg. Yes! Woo! He goes into 11th. Big statement from Haas, 129.821. Ricciardo's now in danger. Look at the drop zone. It's 34,000 separating 15th to 19th. Across the line comes Ocon. He goes into 10th. Ricciardo is 21,000 off to Bottas, who's now in the drop zone. Remarkable. As Ricciardo goes 9th. And Stroll, he's in danger. He's 60,000 off the pace and faster than Bottas. But Bottas in 16th. Might improve. Tsunoda goes 10th. So Magnussen's out. We know that. Bottas goes 8th. Remarkable job from the Sauber. That's a more improvement qualifying. Zhou's in 20th. And Zhou is
Sargent
out. Zhou's out too.
Stroll's out.
I don't
What
believe
happened?
that. He lost a lot of time in that middle sector. Wow. And Gasly's already out. Gasly's already out. So it's Stroll, Gasly, Magnussen, Sargent and Zhou, the eliminations. Aston Martin are going to be doing their nutting. But the biggest surprise is Zhou. As Kieran, you were saying, didn't expect that. That was really bizarre.
No, didn't expect it at all. As you say, I think he lost a bit of time in the first sector. He lost about half a second there. So that's maybe where that has come from. But even so, very surprised to see Zhou down there. Very surprised to see Stroll down there, considering the fact that Alonso is in second place. 1.2 seconds, though, covering the entire field in qualifying is always good. And as you were alluding to, Josh, that drop zone is absolutely so close. That's just over 1/10 of a second separating the entire drop zone. That is remarkable. But Albon making it through by the skin of his teeth, 1.1 seconds
Oh, 2
off
seconds.
that pace. Gasly.
Yeah, it was a good lap again, the traction. Can't go back on power.
Wow. Oh,
Josh,
yes, JT, go on.
I don't know if this will affect multi-viewer, but the F1 Help channel is reporting that their team is aware of an issue impacting playing team radio during qualifying and are working to resolve it as quickly as possible.
Let's test that and hear from
No, we
Joe.
just-
Sliding all over the place.
No, we're fine.
Never
We've got
mind.
it. We've got it.
Awesome.
There's another one from Joe.
Not much more I could do there.
Not much more you can do there. Let's hear from Gasly. He's out too.
So we're going to recharge off and let's go.
Oh, that was before.
Oh, that was ages ago.
Yeah. So our radios are working up here in the comms box, so that's okay. What an interesting session that was. What did you make of it, Jess, then as well? Bigger surprise for Stroll. That's disappointing, but great from Albon to go through.
I have to say, impressive from Albon to get the lap he needed to, separated by, I think, 6/100ths of a second between himself and Stroll. So could have been anyone's game for that. I was very impressed with Ocon as well, because you know that the Alpines were struggling in the first 3 rounds this season. So for one of the Alpines to get through into Q2, that is very, very good. But you were saying good things about Albon. Albon will be investigated after the session, failing to follow race direction instruction, maximum delta time. And we know what that's going to happen. No further
Nothing.
action. Yeah, exactly.
That's the equivalent of having a warning on a board at school, isn't it? It's practically nothing until you get your second warning. So I'm glad you mentioned Ocon, actually, because I was about to say I think that's the first time he's got to Q2 this season. So that's a big improvement for Alpine out there on the board. Let's confirm then to you exactly how they finished in Q1. Verstappen, Alonso, Perez, the top 3. Leclerc, Piastri, Sainz, Norris, Bottas, Hamilton, Ricciardo, the top 10. Tsunoda, 11th. That's going to be a worry going into Q2. Russell, 12th. Ocon, 13th. Hulkenberg's 14th. Albon making it through in 15th. And then as Kieran said, look at the gaps here. Stroll, by 61 thousandths, is out. Gasly by 95 thousandths, Magnussen by 12 thousandths, Sargent by 8 thousandths, Zhou by 4 thousandths of a second. They all get eliminated as we await for Q2. Let's hear from Zhou.
Sliding all over the place.
Well, that's the radio message we heard. So let's head to Crofty.
Joe Guanyu then for the 3rd consecutive race is the slowest qualifier. Disappointment for him, but big celebrations for Esteban Ocon, and we're only a third of the way into this qualifying hour here in Suzuka.
We are through. Well done.
Yeah! Woo! Good job.
Yeah, already some big improvements there as well for Esteban. Getting through, big celebrations. There's current live conditions of the circuit. Let's hear from Bradley Lord, the Mercedes comms
Seems
director.
the track is a lot quicker than maybe some were expecting.
Yeah, I think everyone was a bit surprised that it was, evolving that much at the end of Q1. But equally, I think we can see pretty big teammate gaps in a number of places as well. So it's clearly all about getting the lap together and getting the tyres in the right window. So, they're not sliding about, but they've got the grip they need, particularly through Sector 1 and the long corners like Spoon out the back end of the circuit as well.
Yeah, not least at Aston Martin, 7/10 between Alonso and Perez, and Stroll and...
Yeah, Bradley, just surprised to see in some ways the lack of performance from the team there compared to how it's been looking all the way through this week so far.
Yeah, I don't think either driver got the most out of the car on that run, and that's not always what you're looking to do in Q1. The track was evolving as well, so you've got a bit of track evolution to take into account. So I don't think there's any alarm bells ringing. And if we look at sort of Alonso through to Lewis, it's 3/4 tenths that will make a huge difference as we go through the session. So we're not unduly concerned, I'd say, at the moment, Ant, but let's wait and see how the sessions develop. This has been where we've struggled to sort of continue improving in recent races, and that's hopefully what we're able to do today.
Any George Russell and the queue jumping with Oscar Piastri that the stewards are going to have a look at?
I think they'll have a chat about it afterwards, and just explain the challenges of getting out into that queue of traffic. It's a bit like sort of joining the motorway, isn't it, and trying to find a gap in a queue of traffic there as well. So a relatively usual situation, I think, in Q1, where everyone's queuing at the end of the pit lane, and obviously not able to make gaps on track because of the delta lap time rules as well. So hopefully nothing to be too concerned about, but they'll talk about it afterwards.
sure. Thanks ever so much, Bradley. We'll be...
That sounds like excuses.
That's
That's
doesn't
what
it?
I thought.
Yeah, it's just a massive bunch of excuses, and I reckon Russell might get out then in this one. Q2 is underway for the Japanese Grand Prix of 2024. 15 minutes and 15 drivers will go through. We've lost Stroll, Gasly, Magnussen, Sargent and Zhou. 14 minutes to go now of this session. And we are ticking away to the end of this one. Straight out down the circuit though, Perez and Verstappen. Perez at the hairpin, Verstappen is coming into Degner's 1 and 2. And I think as well, Jess, this could be pretty much a one and done for Red Bull in this one. They can go out there early and blow the field away. They were 3/10 clear in the last session to Alonso.
Because seeing what their pace was in practice 3 in the start and during Q1, they can save a set of tyres for Q3 so they can have 2 fresh sets for the session and then blow everyone out the water as well. But we have seen the track evolution go so quickly. You can't really become complacent around this circuit, as we were hearing from the Mercedes communications director. So we'll see how the Red Bulls fare on their first lap. They can't afford to screw this up, otherwise they'll have to go again. So it is pretty much push, push, push for the 2 Red Bulls at this time. Piastri's going out, so is Hulkenberg. And yeah, they just can't afford to mess this up at this point.
Kieran, have they gone out at the wrong time here? Because several drivers now coming down pit road very slowly. The 2 Red Bulls are going to meet them straight on when they're going to be in the S's. So Perez just gets ahead of Alonso, Hamilton, Norris, but Verstappen's going to meet them now, look, and is going to compromise the start of the lap time here.
Not too much. I think that's Lewis Hamilton just on the inside there, but he stays well out of the way, so no issues with traffic in towards the first turn. Fast charging into that first corner. Verstappen now challenging the S's through here. This snaking roller coaster all the way through the first sector. Brilliant to watch the drivers tackle through there. And I think that's Bottas just up ahead, who then dives out of the way. Sorry, it's Alonso that dives out of the way. As now Verstappen makes his way towards the Degner curves.
31.063, looks a bit wide at Degner 1, hits it nice through Degner 2, up towards the hairpin at turn 11. Oh, picture in picture from there as we take a look at Christian Horner on the wall there.
Time.
That is a long
nice.
time. There it is. Yes! Finally! It's only taken
Go on, Tom.
about 20 years it's taken them to get that sorted, because we had that back in 2004. But yeah, finally, there's Christian Horner, the CO2 principal. Now, thing is though, they can already do that on the F1 TV world feed. So why can't we have that on the international feed that we see here? Come on. Let's
Perez
go the good
purple
toys.
in both sectors.
And Verstappen's not, as he's been held up a bit there by the McLaren of Piastri. Perez is a 128.752. Here comes Max Verstappen up towards the line, and Verstappen does go faster. 128.740. Beautiful. No, yeah, yes. He's 12,000.
12,000.
Oh, that's hot.
Do we have a competition between the 2 Red Bulls for once?
Has hell frozen over? That's the question.
It was Perez faster in Sector 1, Sector 2 than Verstappen, and Verstappen got all the time back and a little bit more through in towards Sector 3, but even so, yeah, 0.012 seconds between the two of them. Well, let's see how long that lasts. Verstappen, really good to see them close together for now, but I think Verstappen's not quite in qualifying absolutely maximum yet.
Yeah, he's backed off. Oh, Alonso was only 79 thousandths off the pace of Verstappen there through that first sector. Hamilton, 4/10 down. Lando Norris is coming up to that sector time at the top of Dunlop Curve, and he's up by 67 thousandths. Lando is fast in the first sector as we get Hulkenberg on a 130.658 with 10 minutes to go in the session. It's getting a bit tight now here as Alonso comes up past the club circuit, gets out of the way one of the Red Bulls. That's going to be Verstappen, I guess. Yep, on the way into the 130R. Piastri goes third, 129.148. Alonso touched the curb there. There's a little bit of a time for that through the 130R. Into the Casio triangle, jumps over the first 2 corners.
Lovely.
It's a good time here, isn't it, from Fernando? I'm saying P2, maybe P3? Oh, okay, P3. 129.082. But not by much. Not by much. 66 to Piastri. Here's Hamilton. 5th. Oh, wow, he's just a 2nd. But all eyes to Lando Norris. Fastest sector 1, personal best sector 2. He's only 2/10 off the pace of Max Verstappen. He goes up into 3rd place. 128.9. Sonoda 7th, that's ahead, but we've still got half the field yet to set times in this session. I think, Kieran, as well, this is a good run for RB, but Red Bull and McLaren seem to be at the top there, and Russell's found his groove, but Mercedes, it's still 2nd off.
Yeah, well, if there weren't alarm bells ringing for Mercedes before with the Mercedes comms director, there might be now. The fact that Hamilton and Russell are a 2nd off of the Red Bulls right now as we ride on board over the shoulder with Charles Leclerc as he makes his way through 130R and now making his way up towards the Casio Triangle. A couple of drivers on scrub tyres, lapping slower than what they did in the previous qualifying session. Let's see what sort of time Leclerc can do across the line.
And goes 6th on a 129.196. Good point, though, actually, because Leclerc is on brand new tyres, but Hamilton and Russell set theirs on scrub set. Sainz goes 5th, 129.099, and he's on new tyres. So everybody below, well, Hamilton down, set their times on scrub sets. Yeah, you're right there. Apart from Albon, who did a new set. But he hasn't been out of the pit lane yet, so that's okay. Ah, Jesus.
Hi, Jesus. Nice to see you. Hulkenberg lap time deleted.
Oh, track limits turn 9. That's why he dropped back.
Turn 13.
Oh, sorry. Turn 13, lap 9. Yeah, sorry. You brand new 24-inch monitor for a timing screen. Can't even read the lap number. This is Alonso. Look, there he is just touching the curb through the 130R. And it affected him into the Casio Triangle as he jumps over the curbs, Kieran. So it's just that positioning a little bit wrong there for the Aston. Cost him a couple of tenths of a second.
We just see the slow-mo shots of the usual riding the curbs over the Casio Triangle. It seems like you can really attack those curbs, and these cars seem to just absorb it relatively well. I mean, they're not going to absorb every little bump in the road that they can, especially if it's a massive curb. But they do seem good enough to ride them through. I mean, Norris is very happy to attack them, as we saw in Q1, able to get the back end out in the first half of the Casio Triangle and just put the power down and go on as if nothing happened and nothing at all affected him. But yeah, the first run's pretty much done in Q1 with, as we mentioned, Hamilton downwards setting lap times on scrub tyres, so they're lapping slower than what they did in the previous qualifying session. But if that's to be believed there, Liam Lawson on the RB pit wall, if that's to be believed then, this should be a very interesting Q2 session because I think everyone will come out what they saw in Q1, the fact that the track evolved so much. You can't afford to miss out on Q3 now. I think we'll see everybody out.
And talking about driving this circuit, Jess does a lot of racing, of course, on in the Red Bull Esports Academy. And Jess, have you done a lot of work at Suzuka on the new F1? Well, I say new, the now getting towards the end of its lifespan, F1 23. New to me, because I've only just got it, but yeah, go on.
I haven't done much Japan races in a while, but I do remember I do like this track. It's nice and flowing for me. I really do like it. I actually got a race in the F2s this afternoon.
Oh, is it in Suzuka?
Yes.
Oh, brilliant.
Any weekend which has an F1 weekend, we race there.
And that'll be presumably on your Twitch channel as well. Oh, 2 seconds, says Science.
Ricky, I was going flat out. The throttle pedal felt softer at the top of the pedal. Check.
Okay, understood.
Oh.
I felt it before turn 13.
Spoon.
Turn 13, the entry.
So that's
where he lost it. Yeah. Is that where the tailwind could be?
Southeast, going from the north. Yeah, just around, yeah. Wind is stable though. Danny Ricciardo's just been told on the radio.
Okay.
That's from the AI radio transcript. So immediately I was agreeing with you, and then apparently according to Ricardo instead. But then again, Ricardo.
Okay, again, Ricardo was like, no, we're not doing it.
Yeah, they're listening to us. They're listening to us. But yeah, and presumably.
Exactly.
Get back to the point. Jess, your race this afternoon will be on your Twitch.
I'm not streaming, but it'll be on the Creator Series Twitch channel.
And who's on the commentary?
I can't. On F2, I don't know.
Not you, Kieran, is it by any chance?
No, it's
Oh
not me.
no, it's I just seen it on the Discord. It's T-Dub and Hayden.
Oh, nice.
And then I'm doing I'm doing F1 with George.
You've got 90 minutes to convince George to get in the JBMotorsports combox for a race before he starts the GT Open this season.
I'll try.
I love how, the one thing I love about Suzuka is that it is downhill, the run towards turn 1. But the one thing that always sets my OCD off here is because Japan is very, it's very ordered, that's very harsh for Hulkenberg to have a lap time deleted. From the onboard...
Hey, he went over the white line. That's it.
There he goes.
Oh yeah. From the onboard it looked harsh, but from the offboard that definitely was like an off there.
Kieran's got better eyes.
Yeah.
Well, I have help, don't worry.
Oh, I'm wearing glasses as well up here in the box. I didn't spot that. What was I going to say? What was I saying before I interrupted myself?
I don't know what you were going to say, Josh.
It's something about your OCD at this track.
That's
It's
it,
downhill
yes.
towards turn 1.
Yeah, it's downhill to turn 1. And the one thing about my OCD about this, Japan love order. And their driver cards above the garages are all the same size. They're all the same size in a square and rectangle. But because it's a downhill building, they're all in blocks. So you get this really weird sort of stagnated rectangles, not perfectly aligned, going down the pit lane. And it always sets me off because it looks ridiculous. Because the pit lane building is on a massive slope. So it's actually downhill. See, and if you, it's weird.
What about Brands, Josh?
Brands does exactly the same thing.
Why?
Because that
is it because it's Brand is has a similar elevation change.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
in the start-finish straight.
Yeah, because Brands Hatch, it sort of goes downhill on the way and then goes slightly uphill, and then you start to go downhill.
I love Brand. It's brilliant.
Just the pit building set me off. And it's not so bad at Sao Paulo because they've redone it, and now the pit lane's flat at Sao Paulo. Somehow. But watch, now, look at Hamilton. If we see the pit lane from one of the cameras, no, we're going to see he's on board. At the end of the session, it'll start at Q3. Just take a look. It's the pit boards for the drivers above the door, the names. And it just sets me off every time because they're so stagnated. It's really annoying.
Well,
that's going to annoy you for the rest of the time now.
Oh, it already has. Ever since they redid the pit building about 10 years ago.
Bit of a moment for Hamilton there, coming out of Spoon. The rear started to sort of get away from him, but he managed to catch it there, and doesn't seem to have affected him too much as he's gone green through sector 1, half a tenth off of Verstappen right now. But the top 7 all not rejoining us for the circuit. So there goes my prediction of everyone has to be out in the closing stages of Q2. You can't afford to miss Q3. Well, the top 7 feel like they're safe enough.
Big risk. Jess, what's the cut-off time for this one? Because Leclerc's got a 1:29.196.
29.2 is the cut-off, apparently.
So he's just inside it by 0.004 of a second. Let's see if that's going to be playing a factor in a few moments as we take a look at Hamilton, who's going to move inside that delta time. He's 41 thousandths off and has remained consistent to Verstappen over this lap. It's the best performance I've seen, actually, from Hamilton here this weekend at Suzuka. Up to the line he goes, and Mercedes can now breathe a sigh of relief. It's a 1:28.887. Great lap time to move himself into third. Russell is still in trouble. 4/10 down, so he's not finding the pace. Checker flags out in 5 seconds. Hulkenberg pushes out Bottas, so Hulkenberg once again this season makes it through to Q3, but we've got faster drivers behind with the checkered flag out. Ocon is out, 1:29.816. He puts himself into 11th position. Danny Ricciardo coming across the line. Leclerc! He's 9th. He's in trouble. Ricciardo goes 10th. Out goes Hulkenberg and Ocon. Now, what about Bottas, Tsunoda, and Albon? Here's Albon. Only, oh, wow, 12th. Another great qualifying from him. That matches his performance from Australia. What about Tsunoda on home soil here in Japan? Yes, 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 yes. 10th. And Japan erupts. Out goes Ricciardo. Bottas 13th. Hulkenberg's already out.
He's through. He's through.
Second year running, Yuki Tsunoda makes it through to qualifying 3 and is through in P10. Ricciardo's out. Hulkenberg's already finished his lap time on the previous run. Bottas, Albon and Ocon down in 15th. But Yuki Tsunoda out qualifies Ricciardo. And again, you have to think why Ricciardo's in the seat.
Yeah, good luck. Well done, guys.
Well, Yuki...
That was amazing. Well done, Yuki Tsunoda.
Half a tenth of a second between Tsunoda and Ricciardo, and that was the difference between getting into Q3 and being knocked out of Q2. Remarkable from Yuki Tsunoda. And if it's your home race, sometimes it just gives you that extra tenth of a second you need, and sometimes that's all the difference you need. Yuki Tsunoda, great job from him. He's into Q3.
Discourse pinging like crazy, and Jess, I think you were right as well. 1:29.4 was the cut-off in the end, but Leclerc got it close. 1:29.196. He was right on the ball.
That would have been a huge shock, I think, if Leclerc was out after, in predictions, they were expecting that Ferrari was going to do well. So another qualifying session where we're seeing Sainz performing better than Leclerc. I think as soon as Sainz found out that he was losing his Ferrari seat, it's just like his motivation is turned up to 11. Like, I'm going to prove to you why I deserve an F1 seat in 2025, and he's definitely proving it currently.
Here's Danny Ricciardo's team radio, what he had to say at the end of that session. Nothing, apparently.
He's speechless.
Played it 3 times and nothing came through. Let's hear from Esteban Ocon. He's 15th.
Let's give it your all.
That's it.
Okay.
Just give it your all. So they haven't yet put them through the communication barrier as well. Okay, so let's confirm how they finished in that session. Then Verstappen goes through as well as Perez. Another 1-2 for the team coming through. Then we get Hamilton, impressive in 3rd. This is looking good for Lewis, actually, to get into a top 3 position. That was his best lap of the weekend. Norris in 4th, 2/10 off the pace of Verstappen. He too looks good for McLaren. Alonso 5th, Sainz 6th, Russell 7th, Piastri 8th, Leclerc 9th, and I think Tsunoda, the biggest surprise, in 10th position. That's the glory run in that one as well. Out goes Ricciardo, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Albon and Ocon. Sadly, those we expected to see. Hulkenberg nearly made it another Q3 appearance this season, but lost out across it, but not by much, by about 77 thousandths of a second to Tsunoda's time. Ricciardo was out by 55 thousandths, Hulkenberg by 22. It's really not that much. Bottas, less than a tenth of a second. Another really close qualifying session then coming through here for the Japanese Grand Prix. So we're almost set to go then for the final part of qualifying here for the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's coming up next. And we really are expecting to see something different when we go into Q3. Let's start with you then, Kieran, as well. What do you think we're going to see by the time the session comes around?
Well, I'm expecting in about 10 minutes' time for Max Verstappen to claim pole position number 36 of his career and continue that on Ocon radio.
So that is P15, unfortunately.
Copy.
Okay, go there, good go. Let's see what we can do tomorrow.
Yeah, copy that. Good job.
I think they were just happy to get out of Q1.
Better than it was.
Yeah. What do you think then, Jess?
Well, I was very happy for Tsunoda for in his home Grand Prix to get it through to Q3. That'll give him a good confidence boost. We'll see if what Kieran said is true, that at the home Grand Prix found an extra 10th of a second as well. Hamilton find his groove. Hamilton always seems to like Japan, and this is he's definitely proved that today as well. Obviously, I'm a bit shocked about Piastri not finding his form at the moment compared to his teammate, but they may find some time in Q3, so all could change heading into the final part. But one thing I do know is Ferrari need to step it up if they want to close up to the Red Bulls, because they're nowhere near what we expect them to be. Even one Mercedes and one McLaren are beating both Ferraris right now.
Ricciardo up to the line. He's on the radio. Are we going to hear it? All right, Daniel. You know you always need to do a little bit better, but you should be pleased. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Obviously not, but appreciate we've done well. Yeah, let's focus on the positive. Is what was coming through there.
Yeah, his AI radio is. I appreciate we had a good session. As you say, we'll work on that. I fully share your feelings, but equally, I'm happy.
We would have listened to that, but they're talking to Bradley Lord at the moment. Let's check in with Josh T down in the pit lane. Josh, what did you make of Q2 and what are you expecting going to Q3?
Well, it was an interesting Q2. Ferrari's risking it, and it paid off. Just, well, Ferrari, they were good in Australia. Their strategy has been a bit questionable. Let's say, I know Omi's in the box, so I won't have a go at them too much. But we'll see if they are able to improve for the race tomorrow. We'll see.
Well, to be fair, Josh T, if you remember, they missed the checkered flag this morning in practice 3. They sent him out with like a minute 30 to go, and Leclerc never got a lap in. So then they were confused. Did we take the flag? Because I've just got the first time crossing the flag. He took the flag because we got the race control information up here in the box as well. That told us that. Come and look live if you're watching now. If you're watching along with us on YouTube and Twitch, is of the webcam of the Suzuka circuit. The clouds have dissipated. There's a little bit of sunshine starting to break through as well, the clouds here at what is closing in on 4 o'clock. So the sun is beginning to set here in the land of the rising sun, which is comical enough to keep us going for a long, long time. But, right. Kieran, you already said Max Verstappen for pole position. You sticking with that for your bet?
I think it's a safe one, isn't it? If I had to pick anyone other than Verstappen, there's a chance here for Hamilton to get his 105th pole if he can continue on that good form, if he really can bring on that Mercedes. The safe bet is Max Verstappen, but if Lewis Hamilton gets pole, I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest.
Jess, what about you?
I agree with Kieran here. I think Max Verstappen has been looking unstoppable in it. Free practice 3 and throughout all qualifying sessions, so I have to go with Max Verstappen. But Lewis has been looking good as well. I would be surprised if Perez pulls off a surprise or two, though, because he's been looking closer to Verstappen this weekend in Japan than what he was last season. So already massive improvement from Perez this season already.
The green light goes on and qualifying 3 is underway. Let's head to Ted.
They are willing Yuki to more than P9, which is what he got last year. So not only has he repeated Q3 of this season, but that's twice in the space of a few months, hasn't he? He's been in Q3 in Suzuka, so job done so far. Daniel Ricciardo not particularly happy. His engineer was saying, look, I know you're not going to be happy about being beaten again by Yuki, but you have to take the positives. Daniel saying on the radio, look, I'm not happy, but okay, we'll focus on tomorrow. So if this was a big weekend for Ricciardo, well, he's failed so far, but there's always tomorrow. That's when the points are handed out.
So we're out then on the circuit. Qualifying 3 is underway for the Japanese Grand Prix. Just the top 10 now left for 12 minutes to run around the circuit and decide the running order for the grid and pole position, which could be crucial. Now, Kieran said about Red Bull taking a pole position, but with the possibility of Lewis Hamilton. But if Red Bull do take pole here, with either Verstappen or Perez, it will be Red Bull's 100th pole position in Formula One. And what a place to celebrate it here at the home of engine supplier Honda here in Japan, Suzuka. So there's a big opportunity there to come forward. But we've heard from Jess, we've heard from Kieran. Let's check in with Josh T and ask, who's your predictor pole? As we've seen in the last couple of years, it has been Verstappen since we returned as well.
Now, I'm going to do a predictor 1 and 2 because you know what my 1 is.
Right.
It's Verstappen. What second? It's either going to be Perez, Alonso, or Alonso, Perez, the top 3.
Oh.
So it's going to be Verstappen, Perez, Alonso, Verstappen, pole, and Perez, Alonso, whatever. Hamilton may be up there as well.
Ooh, that's a brave bet, to be fair, to put Alonso up there and not put Hamilton involved, considering what we've just
I would have
seen.
put Hamilton in third.
I would have put Hamilton third as well. To be honest with you, I might shock you with what I'm going to say here. In the side of the top three, I wouldn't put out Norris or Piastri in the McLaren. They are really strong out there.
Absolutely. They'll be up there as well. It's going to be a battle for the top.
They've saved pace for Q3. They're hiding it.
I so wish I was trackside right now, because Hamilton just going through the deadeners, the floor sparking up as Lewis goes wide. Exit of the hairpin, gets dirt on his tyres. That's going to spoil the lap time then for Lewis Hamilton. He's on brand new set of tyres at the moment, and that is pretty much his lap gone as he approaches Spoon. And first sector for Verstappen, a 30.869, but look, it's not actually that bad. It's only what? I can't tell. About 45 thousandths faster than Hamilton. It's not actually that much, is it, Kieran? So this is actually a real struggle now to see if the conditions are going to work for Red Bull. Hamilton, as you say, he's bringing his A game.
He is indeed. Russell's just gone purple through sector 2, though, and here comes Hamilton through in towards the final corner and up to the line.
Is he faster? It's a 1:28.766, not faster than the time set by Verstappen in the previous session, but Max is faster. But sector 1's just been taken by Piastri. Russell goes second, 1:29.008. Here comes Verstappen out towards it now. Here, pole position could be number 100 for Red Bull and 37 in his career. It's half a second faster. Never mind a single second. Norris is fastest in sector 1, a 30.8, so he's 69 thousandths faster than Verstappen. Whether he can keep that around the whole lap, I'm not sure. Here comes Alonso, and he's into the Casio triangle. A lot nicer through the curbs this time. Sainz and Piastri, look at that. Piastri's dropped down on sector times. Norris is coming into Spoon, and he's passing the second sector soon. As Alonso goes into fourth. Is Norris up there? He's down in the second sector. Sainz goes third, 1:28.682. So Hamilton losing a lot of time there. Perez in P2. Here comes Piastri. He goes fourth, but all eyes to Lando Norris as he comes out of the last two corners into turn 18, up towards the line, and Lando goes up into second position. It's a 1:28.489, 2.5 tenths off the pace of Verstappen, but still fighting good. And there goes Tsunoda into ninth position, matching his best qualifying of last year as well here in Japan in 2023 in ninth position. So it's Verstappen, Norris, Perez, Sainz, Piastri, Hamilton, Alonso, Russell, Tsunoda, and Leclerc yet to set a lap time after the first group stage. And I think as well, Jess, that's a mighty, mighty good run, because Norris is right up there.
So McLaren were hiding their pace from Q2 and really going for it in Q3, which is really great to see. Norris, I think, is home to the McLaren fold for quite a while, and it's already used to this track. So I won't be surprised if he beats Piastri in this qualifying session, because they've been evenly matched throughout the season. And I know Norris was saying that that Piastri was helping him in somewhat. So I wonder. I think Verstappen's still going to get pole, but will Norris be the cork in the bottle for the other cars to follow? We'll have to wait and see. I think it's going to be a battle for best of the rest rather than battle for pole, because we know who's going to get pole.
Sadly
Come
so.
on.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Max, isn't it, Kieran? But this is good for Lando to get ahead of Perez psychologically. Is going to be major for the race tomorrow as we ride with him now. Briefly.
Well, to be within a quarter of a second of Verstappen there, not bad going, considering there'll be a second run. Leclerc is out there on his own on a fresh set of tyres, possibly because he's got one set left. This probably will be his only run, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Yuki Tsunoda setting that lap time on a set of scrub tyres, so we're expecting him to set a lap time on new tyres. We'll see what sort of lap time he can do. Alonso ready?
P7 at the moment. It's a tenth and a half to get to P4.
Yeah, I don't know what to do to go faster, mate. I thought it was a good lap.
You probably.
And that's the thing. It is mighty close. We were talking about the battle for the best of the rest. You're talking about 0.4 of a second, if that, up to P2. So it's remarkably close right now as Charles Leclerc tries to finish off his outlap and put what I believe will be his one and only quali lap.
Such an impressive run, Jess, now, isn't it? As Ferrari head out there, this is more like qualifying. This is more like it. They've got proper runs around now, and everyone's really close together.
close like this, not when someone is like a few tenths down. As Hamilton team radio.
Okay, Lewis, so that's half a second to Verstappen.
There's a half second, man.
Another one scratching it.
Well, how is it half a second? Well, he made a mistake, didn't he, coming out of the S's?
Yeah, he made a mistake going after the hairpin, so that's probably where he lost all that time. So,
well, Hamilton half a second off of Verstappen, Russell 3/4 of a second off of Verstappen. So it's a shared problem for Mercedes.
yeah, it's not just Lewis.
Yeah, this is going to be really, really weird, this one. Leclerc's 2.5 tenths of a second down. Where on earth has Red Bull got this pace? I would love to have a sit-down chat with Adrian Newey and just say, how have you done this? I know he's got ground effect experience from his sports car days in the early 90s, but this is just unbelievable as Perez comes out into the circuit now as well.
You have to remember as well that the field and Verstappen, it seems like there's the gap is a little bit smaller than it was last year. So let's take that into account. The other teams have caught up. Leclerc purple through sector 2, by the way, as he makes his way through towards the end of the lap, Josh.
39.866 as well. He's going to put himself comfortably second here. So for the third race running, we could have a front row of Verstappen and Leclerc, and it's 7th. 128.7. Never mind. So cool lap.
I've got my hopes up.
It's a combination of first and final sector. He lost about nearly half a second through sector 1 alone. So.
Oh, hello. Why was Sig an empty set? Oh, there we go.
Joe, for a split second, I expected to see like a flare or something.
Someone off.
That too, and it was Perez at the hairpin, so I was looking at the timing screen as well just to make sure that he wasn't off. Do you know, I know we've got 2 minutes 40 to go, but even if we have a crash now, they won't restart the session anyway. One of the quickest qualifiers I've ever known in Japan. What happened when we used to get up early in the morning? We used to be having like 4 red flags because people kept binning it everywhere.
We had red flag last year, didn't we?
A lot.
In quali.
Yeah, a lot of red flags in quali last year. We've had barely any.
You're just trying to jinx it now, aren't you?
You are, Josh.
You're trying to chalk a red flag into existence.
Well, to be fair, we're still red flagless in 2024 in terms of Grand Prix stoppages, so I always like to try and get that out of the way early in the season because then we don't have to go through that pain later on in the year. But they red flag for anything these days. Here's Leclerc.
Leclerc.
That's the best that I can do. Honestly.
Oh.
I don't get it.
Oh dear.
So Ferrari are in trouble.
Highs of Australia, lows of Japan. That's how it seems to be going.
That's a good name for a band, Josh. You should write that down.
It's on stream. Somebody remember that.
Come on, click that.
Just remember me when you make it big time.
Ooh.
Oh, hello. Perez is up by 23 thousandths of a second here. Judging by the gaps that we've seen right now in the intervals, that could be something. Could we see Perez's 4th career pole position and the first not to be at... Never mind, Verstappen's 92 thousandths faster than his own previous best time. So 30.777 in that first sector. I mean, qualifying is just a crescendo up until Q3. Then we all know who's going to have pole position. But either way, it will be Red Bull's 100th career pole position.
Oh, Perez went a bit wide in spoon there.
I love how all the other parts of the track has got sensible names. Perez is up! I'm going to interrupt myself to bring you this. Sergio Perez is fastest of all in that second sector now into the Casio Triangle. A lot of jumps over as well, but the RB20 can take it. And look at that, Perez is fast in the middle sector compared to Verstappen. It's very close between the two Red Bulls. It's second by 23 thousandths of a second. Perez can only match to that amount. It is literally thousands separating him at the moment. Here comes Max Verstappen across the line though, and he's 43 thousandths faster. He's 66 thousandths faster than Perez. It's pole position number 100 for Red Bull. Sainz goes 4th. He can't improve. Sonoda, can he get up anywhere as the checker flag falls? No, stays in 10th position, and he did have a brand new set of tyres on that run as well. Leclerc has come into the pit lane. Here comes Fernando Alonso into the Casio triangle, down through into the last corner, booted hard. Is he going to improve from 8th position to 5th? 128.686. Russell's in that first sector, now into sector 2. He's still got time to find, but so has Hamilton.
Lewis?
Yeah, Hamilton's the only one. 40.008, middle sector. So Hamilton is in the 130R. He's into the Casio triangle. So Piastri's crossed the line. He stays in 6th position. Hamilton's next up towards the line. Here he comes now. We're watching Russell, but Hamilton stays in 7th. Doesn't improve. He's 6 thousandths off the pace of Piastri. Here comes Russell, though, out of the last corner, up to the line. And don't think he's going to know. 8 tenths down. That's it. That is it. That is qualifying concluded, because Sainz has already done his fastest time before the flag came out. It is pole position 37 for Max Verstappen, but it is 100 poles for Red Bull Racing in 372 Grand Prix. They have pole here at their engine supplier's home Grand Prix, and not only that, it's a 1-2 to lead the field down to the first corner by 66 thousandths of a second. We certainly know who gives the orders in Japan.
Moment, he delivered.
Not bad, not bad. I mean, would have been a better lap, but doesn't matter. It's on for P1.
Yeah, well done, Max. P1 again, well done. Nice job.
Yeah, nice one, 2 so that's good.
It is.
Lewis saying, sorry, I can't go any quicker, guys. Great job. He's down in 7th. Oscar, we need to drive to the Delta 0. That was 6th. Well, there we go. Kieran, you got it right, but 66 thousandths of a second, that's not too bad. But I think Red Bull now, 1-2 on the grid, they can walk away with this race tomorrow, unless it rains.
Unless it rains, and unless Perez fancies a move in towards turn 1, perhaps. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But Verstappen, 36 pole positions now in his career, claims another one here at Japan. I got the right prediction, the fact that Max was on pole, but I said I wouldn't be surprised if Lewis was, challenging for that one. He ended up half a second off, and really, though improvements on the last lap came from Alonso, Tsunoda, who was on new tyres, and I don't think, apart from the Red Bulls, anybody, and Verstappen and Perez improved as well, but the majority of the grid didn't improve on their final lap. So either they're all pushing too hard, or perhaps the tyres they were on maybe overheating in this final one. It's very strange that you go into the final lap of qualifying and half the field doesn't improve on the previous lap.
Mighty odd, isn't it, Jess, as well? Because they were all on new tyres as well. So what on earth happened? I don't know. They just could not switch them on in time.
Yeah, maybe they just weren't as confident, and maybe the pressure just got to them a little bit. I don't know. It's too hard to explain at this point as well. But there are tracks like this where setting your first run in Q3, I would say, is more important than your final run. Because if you mess up in your final run, then that's it. But I'll let you go through the results.
Max Verstappen starts on pole position for the 37th time tomorrow, and it's Red Bull's 100th pole in their 372 starts. Sergio Perez starts second into Red Bull front row by 66 thousandths of a second. Lando Norris finishes in 3rd with Carlos Sainz in 4th. His compatriot from Spain is 5th for Fernando Alonso. Oscar Piastri in 6th, Lewis Hamilton 7th, half a second down, matching with Charles Leclerc in 8th, George Russell in 9th, Yuki Tsunoda on home soil. His second best ever qualifying result here in 10th. Outing the second part of qualifying, Daniel Ricciardo is in 11th, and then 12th fastest as well went to Hulkenberg, Bottas 13th, Albon's 14th, 15th for Ocon, 16th for Stroll, 17th for Gasly, 18th for Magnussen, 19th for Sargent. Zhou Guanyu, for the 3rd Grand Prix in a row, will start this race 20th from the back of the grid. Let's head down then to the grid as we will hear from the top 3 starting positions for the Formula 1 MSC Cruises Japanese Grand Prix. Formula 1 race winner, former Ferrari driver Jean Alesi will interview the top 3, starting with Lando Norris.
So how enjoyable it is to fight for the pole position in Suzuka? Always exciting. You don't get many chances, but we had a good car today. I could fight. I did some good laps, especially in Q3. So I'm very happy with today. It's always enjoyable here in front of the fans, and a good one for us as McLaren. You know, we had a good year last year. We had a good race last weekend. So nice to still be here.
Historically, McLaren always competitive in Suzuka. You are looking to be on the podium tomorrow.
Of course. You know, we've had a good car all weekend. We've made some good steps forward. We're trying to catch up to these 2 Red Bulls, but they're doing a good job. The whole team's doing a good job. So fair play to them. But we're working hard, and the hard work is paying off slowly. So we'll keep pushing. But today's a good start to the weekend. Tomorrow's the main job.
Fantastic. We wish you good luck, and I think all the fans are looking for a good race tomorrow.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you, Nando. Checo, what do you have for breakfast? You eat a lion?
Yeah, it was close today, really close with Max. It felt like a good lap. It was quite tricky out there, actually, especially closing up the laps. It was quite easy to lose a couple of tenths into the last section, into the chicane. So we hooked it in all together, but unfortunately, it was not enough.
With the last run, you were very close to pole position. Did you believe it was possible for you?
Yeah, I think we've been really close all weekend, all the way through qualifying as well. And when you are in that little margins, you know, anything can make a difference. You know, I didn't have a great exit opening up the lap, so probably that could have been the difference, you know. But I think we are in a good position for tomorrow. I think, our long run pace hasn't been that strong this morning, but we've worked quite a bit, so hopefully tomorrow we will be able to be strong.
We have seen some Mexican flags on the middle of the Japanese fans, so we wish you the best for tomorrow.
Yes, thank you.
Max, well done. It's fantastic. I mean, to watch you all during the day, this morning, especially in Spoon, we were very shocked at the speed you carry into the corner. But today was tough for you for the pole.
Yeah, it was quite close at the end. I think overall, you know, this track is very sensitive with the tires, you know, with the tarmac being really aggressive. And when you really want to go to the limit, it doesn't always work out. But nevertheless, I think, you know, most important is to be on pole. Of course, you want every lap to be perfect, but around a track like this, that's not always the case. But yeah, overall, very good day, good starting position for tomorrow. And of course, tomorrow is what counts.
To be with your teammate next to you for the start, you feel maybe more relaxed for tomorrow?
Well, I mean, it's great as a team, of course, to be P1 and P2, and hopefully, of course, we can keep that going also for tomorrow.
So we wish you good luck again. You know, the fans are fantastic, and
it's a great fan support here.
So well done, and we wish you the best.
Thank you.
What a performance from Red Bull. And we have a very exciting Grand Prix lined up tomorrow as well. You do not want to miss it. With rain predicted as well, anything is a possibility as Verstappen. A 1:28.197 across the line. He took the fastest time as well as we come back up to the comms box and rejoin myself, Kieran and Jess. And let's start then with the usual. Who is going to win? Your pick a winners. And Kieran, I'll start with you. Who's your pick a winner for the Japanese Grand Prix?
Well, if his brakes all hold together this time around, it's going to be Verstappen. I'm looking forward to turn 1 tomorrow, though, with Perez on the inside going in towards turn 1. That should be pretty interesting. Of course, here at Japan, the pole position starts on the racing line, which means it's technically on the outside for turn 1, but in theory gives you the grippier line, so you should get the better start. But if Perez can get that start nailed tomorrow, he's going to be down the inside. And don't forget as well, Norris building in confidence in these turn 1s. He's going to fancy his chances going through there, at least trying to get past Perez in there. So I think Verstappen's going to take the win, but it's going to be a very, very interesting turn 1. It normally always is at Japan. It's normally an interesting turn 1.
And I suppose just as well, that inside line is key, especially if it's a wet start. If we remember back to 2022, Leclerc and Verstappen on the inside line to turn 1, that was very juicy. Oh, you're on mute, Jess. There you go.
Am I on mute?
Yeah, now you are. We
Am
can
I
hear you
okay
now.
now?
Yes, hello.
Okay, I wonder why I put myself on mute there. That was very, very strange. Sorry about that. Turn 1 could always get hairy with 20 cars going through, and I know some people would opt to go wide just to avoid the possible contact people could be having as well, but don't count out the likes of Norris, who will be catching Sainz as well, Alonso. It is not all for Verstappen for the taking, but I can't wait to see maybe Perez getting him a challenge into turn 1. This is Perez's best chance to challenge Verstappen in a long time, so we'll see what he could do.
Who are you nailing down for a pick a winner?
I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna go for the safe bet. I'm gonna go for Max Verstappen if his brakes are okay.
I'm thinking the same. I'm thinking the same. Max is the safer bet. Is what I'll be saying on the grid after dark later on tonight as well. Josh T in the pits. What about you? What did you make a quality, and what do you think we're going to see going into the race tomorrow? And you'll pick a winner.
Qualifying was good and quick, no red flags, and Tsunoda, looking at the Q3 lineup, I think that was quite strong for Tsunoda to get into Q3, and with the competition with all of the other drivers, some top drivers in there as well, so good. I think P10 is solid for Tsunoda, especially at his home race. Going into the race and pick a winner, you guys have put me in a really difficult position because I want to be different, but then I also need my pick a winner points. So Max Verstappen.
Yeah, I think it's unanimous across the board. It'd be Max Verstappen. Then again, we all said the same in Australia, and look what happened. Anything can happen in Formula One as well. Well, my thanks to Kieran, my thanks to Jess, and my thanks to Josh T in the pit lane as well. Just a reminder of what we've got coming up as well. Later on, as Jess said, you've got the Creator Series that you can go watch as well with the F2 and then the F1 racing as well. Kieran, you got anything coming up this weekend?
I'm going to be having a sleep, but no, nothing for me this weekend. It's a weekend to rest my voice.
Sounds good. Jess, are you feeling confident about the race later in Japan?
No.
Good answer.
I'm not ready. I haven't practiced yet. I'm going to practice later.
You've got a couple of hours. You've got about 12, so that's fine. Josh T, I presume the rest of you now is going to be sorting out our new Discord because it's the same Discord, but you're updating it for us.
I want to go bed, but yeah, Discord first.
I'll be doing exactly the same thing, getting some sleep as well. Well, my thanks to you, Jess. My thanks, Kieran. My thanks to you, Josh T, as well. My thanks to all of you at home as well for tuning in throughout this qualifying session. Predictable result with Max Verstappen and Red Bull being fastest. It's pole position number 100 for Red Bull and 37 for Max Verstappen. But as we saw in Australia, anything can happen. Rain is in the air for tomorrow. What will the land of the rising sun bring when it rises on round 4 of the Japanese Grand Prix Formula 1 2024 season? You can join us at 5 a.m. British Summer Time for all the race build-up with lights out from 6 a.m. Thanks for your company. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.